Folks, we are witnessing a generational political powerhouse with Zohran Mamdani. Not only is he proving he can deliver on his promises that made him mayor, he's perfectly setting up rising democratic socialists across the country for success by proving the playbook for how to fend off the most feral attacks, not from MAGA, but from centrists.
The reaction from Democrats has been something. You've had some prominent Democrats dismissive of what happened here. I mean, you had Senator Blumenthal say the effort to nationalize New York is going to fail. What happened in New York will be really irrelevant by the time of the elections in November. Hakeem Jeffries basically said the same thing, saying that this is not indicative of what needs to happen in November. What do you make of that?
I think that when you ask Americans what they're feeling in this moment, amidst reports of an economy that's strengthening, of a stock market that's booming, you will hear an exhaustion at having to try and make ends meet every single day, every single week, every single month, and that it's getting harder and harder. And so a message of fighting for working people, we don't have to nationalize that message. That is a national message. It's a national crisis. And for far too long, all we've had to say as a party is opposition to the current administration. What do we have to say beyond that? And what these candidates offer is a vision that extends beyond the midterms, it extends beyond 2028. It speaks to what makes so many of us proud to be Democrats. It speaks to a vision that goes back to a New Deal understanding of what working people deserve. And I'll tell you that for too long, that kind of politics, you can only find it in history books, and we need to bring it back to the present day.
Mamdani is very good at making his point succinctly and with presence. It's honestly a masterclass to watch. But the beauty of it is that he demystifies socialism from something that sounds hard to understand and scary to what it really is: simple policy aimed at improving the lives of working class voters through a democratized economy. I don't think that their Promise to America moderate manifesto said anything about that, did it?
In fact, they put out a manifesto today. I don't know if you've seen this thing.
Sounds pretty socialist to me.
It's not a communist manifesto. It's a moderate manifesto saying we are capitalist, not socialist. We believe in a growing, fair, and competitive economy, entrepreneurship, ownership. I mean, this is a direct response, they've made it clear, to what you did here on Tuesday.
Well, I mean, that's great, but what's a party if not its voters? And I'm proud to sit in front of you as the mayor of our city, having received more than 1 million votes a little less than a year ago. And when we're talking about these incredible congressional candidates, they won their races, and they won their races with a vision of what politics should be, and one that actually speaks to working people. And for a lot of people who ask themselves, what does democratic socialism mean? And you can tell them the answer at a theoretical level. It's the choice to extend democracy from the ballot box the rest of their lives. But in terms of what it means over these last 7 months, we've seen a city with democratic socialist principles at the heart of it within our administration. And what we've delivered has been record lows when it comes to murders and shootings.
So is it pragmatic democratic socialism?
I think democratic socialism at the heart is pragmatic. Because if we cannot deliver for working people, then what is this for? I'm not interested in writing a manifesto or, frankly, in reading one. I'm interested in delivering, and that's exactly what we've been showing.
The most obvious policy difference between the Democratic establishment and the base is support of Israel. The financial support of this settler colonial project is fundamentally opposed to a left-wing worldview, as reflected by polling from the base. But for some reason, there's only a few politicians who are willing to say what Mamdani is about the genocide and Israel.
And the idea of a Jewish state, Israel is a Jewish state, that's in the charter. That's the way it is now. Do you support that?
I've said time and again that I support the state of Israel as a state with equal rights. I believe that any state that preferences...
But as a Jewish state is the question.
I think any state that privileges one religion over the other is one that I can't tell you I support, whether it be Israel or Saudi Arabia or anywhere else. And a lot of that comes back to a fundamental belief that we should all be considered equal no matter what our faith is.
You would think that saying you only support secular democracies as an American wouldn't be that controversial. Thankfully, it is becoming less so now that the dam has broken. These moderate Democrats, who I call cowards, who were once supportive of Israel, are now starting to find that there's room to call out what we've all been seeing for years now.
Congressman, you mentioned a moment ago the genocide in Gaza. I checked before the interview. I haven't seen you refer to it as a genocide before. Is that a new position, or have you always believed it was a genocide?
I have just been thinking very deeply about it. I obviously have not. Yeah, I agree that I have not spoken out about this issue as much as I want to. I have spent the week reading the new UN inquiry on this issue, and obviously 92 pages that were heart-wrenching to read. As somebody who worked at the United Nations, that's where I started my career. I have deep trust in international institutions. And I just don't think we can continue to mince our words or deny what so many credible actors and institutions and doctors and experts are saying.
For years, the Overton window has been shifting right as more and more white supremacist and hyper-capitalist ideologies became mainstream. And for years, the Democrats' answer was to give them a little bit of what they want so that maybe they'll give us a little bit of what we want, aka bipartisanship, which only works if they aren't literal fascists. So now the gloves are coming off and we are pushing the window back over to the left, something that the mainstream media wants to stop at all costs.
To Mr. Garcia, I mean, politics is perception in a lot of cases. Won't voters think your party is getting more extreme?
At the end of the day, the voters of districts elect their nominees. And who are we to tell the voters of whether it's in New York or Maryland or Utah, who is their best person to represent them? At the end of the day, voters are going to choose their nominees.
That's why candidates like Maylard Quiros in Denver are standing out to constituents. People want to feel like their representatives actually represent their stances on little issues like, apartheid. Not to mention that the prevailing issue will always be the fact that Corpo Dems have chosen their donors over the people every time on every issue.
Our representative here in Denver, who's been there for 30 years, has taken money from a lot of these corporations that have been standing in the way of passing meaningful legislation. I felt called to run because we should have representatives who are unbought and unafraid to stand up to these interests and are ready and willing to fight tooth and nail for working families and the basic rights that they deserve. We've been running for the last 11 months a truly grassroots, people-powered campaign.
We are in a time where experience with the status quo is basically worthless. So why not let in new people with a vision for a better future instead of more of the same? Ro Khanna put it perfectly here, and this is why I'm in favor of more toe-stepping from Democratic Socialists. He said, I promised myself that I would never pull up the drawbridge in lifting up bold new voices. Right now, political bravery is being rewarded by the people. Once again, just look at Mamdani. They're calling him the modern-day Diana. He's not only coming through with his campaign promises, but he's willing to break some centrists' hearts. And he's certainly not going to be the last generational politician in this movement. Let's get Maylard Quiros elected tomorrow and stay tuned to U.S. Democratic Socialists. I'm Tony Heinderman, and I'll catch you next time.